All right, let's now invite former BC Premier Christy Clark in this conversation. Christy, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. I appreciate your time.
Glad to be here, actually. Thanks for inviting me.
So there is a shift in position from the BC Premier. While he still insists that the tanker ban should remain in place, your thoughts on what's at stake here with the tanker ban being lifted?
Well, first of all, the tanker ban is performative. It was never anything but pretend in the first place, because 12 nautical miles from the coast of British Columbia, Alaskan tankers are bringing millions of gallons of oil down to the United States, right down the same coast. They do it down Haida Gwaii. They do it right on that coastline that we are so concerned about, that we have a tanker ban on it. So it's never been anything really but a pretend kind of performative political move made by the previous government. And I expect that what they're going to do, though, is rather than say, okay, we're going to get rid of the tanker ban, I think they'll probably just make a lot of exceptions to the tanker ban, because at the same time, that it isn't very effective, it still is really an article of faith for New Democrats in British Columbia and for Premier Eby, and they need to find that middle ground.
What about the First Nations, though, in the coastal areas? They also would want the tanker ban in place, like they've been saying.
Well, I mean, some of them do. I mean, I think there is mixed opinion on the North Coast about it, and there's certainly some influential voices who are opposed to it. But, those are really people who are opposed to resource development in general, not a tanker ban specifically. This is just one expression of opposition to the good that Alberta does for the rest of the country. So I think we could see some movement there, because those communities, we got them involved in LNG. So many of them are much wealthier now. They understand the impact that resources can have in growing their communities.
Let's talk about the MOU that calls for trilateral conversations. Till now, of course, the Premier has been complaining that he's been left out. But how do you see Alberta and BC work together, talk together to get this project going?
Well, I think we have finally gotten to a place where I think that can happen and be productive. I mean, David Eby spent most of his pre-political career as, protesting government. He said he liked to sue the government all the time, and now he's a premier. And I think it's just taken him a little while to fit into that role as premier. And now that he seems to be more open to these conversations, it suggests to me that he's ready to be a constructive voice at the table, and that's a big change. That's a big moment for Canada.
Let's talk about the Liberal Party. There are 20 other Liberal MPs in BC, many for a progressive climate agenda, as we understand. What will such a project really mean for them as they address their constituencies?
It's difficult for them, because they're all, they were Trudeau Liberals. They came in under a leader and a prime minister who was very, very interested in the environmental issues and really quite hostile to resource development in the country. So it remains to be seen how many of them can kind of put on a new coat of paint and to change where they've stood on this. I would argue, though, actually, that in British Columbia, public opinion is in favor of a northern pipeline. Public opinion is in favor of getting rid of the tanker ban or making exceptions to it. If you did a poll today, I bet you'd find 55–60% of British Columbians say, yes, go ahead. We need to protect ourselves from American tariffs, and we need to diversify our markets overseas. So I think, they might have some personal transformations they need to make. I'm going to guess that their constituents are already there on most of this stuff.
Okay, we leave it at that for today then. Former BC Premier Christy Clark, always a pleasure. Thank you for taking out the time.
Thanks, Akshay.